I want to change the subject a little bit here to talk about congressional elections. In America, we have what are called single-member districts, which means that each congressional district elects one member to serve in Congress. The alternative would be the multi-member districts that are favored in many Western European democracies, where multiple members are elected to represent each district, and seats are divided based on the proportion of the vote that the party receives in that district. The winner-take-all system is a staple of American politics and of American life, but has some drawbacks in terms of potentially skewing representation and limiting access to office for women and minorities. So, how do we draw these districts? Well, it's an excellent question you just asked. Well, every 10 years we do something called the census. This is where we count the number of people in America, figure out where they all live, and what race and ethnicity they are. This is important because the House of Representatives allocates seats based on population, so we need to know exactly how many people live in each state and where they live within each state. The next step is called apportionment. This is where we apportion or allocate the 435 members of Congress to each of the 50 states. Each state has a minimum of one representative, and then everyone gets extra members of Congress based on how many people live in the state. Currently, that means for approximately every 800,000 people in your state, you get one member of Congress. Then, once we do that, we have to draw the districts, and these districts have to meet three basic criteria. The first is equipopulation. This means that every district has an equal number of people in it. With modern GIS techniques, this means less than a 0.5% variation in population between the largest and smallest district in a state. Second is contiguity, which means that when you're drawing a line around the district, basically you can't pick up the pen. It has to be one continuous line. A quick note on this line can be drawn through water, which lets states pick up things like islands and whatnot, but you cannot pick up the pen. The third is protecting communities of interest. This means ethnic, religious, or whatever other communities of interest live within a state. States have additional requirements they can add onto the process, but these three are the ones that every state must follow. We do this process roughly every 10 years, although depending on the state, it can be more frequent in cases where the population has shifted significantly. Similarly, we have court cases that happen throughout the decade that force us to redraw lines in a number of different circumstances. These requirements are often written into state constitutions, but many constitutions are silent or at least vague on the issue, which leaves things open to significant interpretation. We saw this in Virginia a number of years ago when Republicans tried to redistrict the state legislative districts, and no one was really sure whether it was illegal or not to do that in the middle of the decade. A quick sidebar. This map here shows which states gained and lost seats in the 2010 round of reapportionment. As you can see, states in the Midwest were most likely to lose seats, while states in the South and West were most likely to gain seats. This represents the population shifts we've seen in America, with people moving out of the Midwest, where jobs are hard to find and the weather is awful, to pursue opportunities in the South and West, where there's more jobs and the weather's just, quite frankly, a lot nicer. This has significant implications for electoral politics, especially as we see the decrease in population for many of the current swing states into safer ones. On the other hand, these safer states may become swing states due to the new influx of population. Particularly worrying for Republicans are shifts in Texas and Georgia, which seems like they might become swing states relatively soon. Maybe not by 2020, Democrats thought by 2016, they were horribly wrong. 2024, maybe 2028, we're going to start to see those states potentially become more in play, which is potentially worrisome for Republicans.